So last time I showed you the best left hand exercises that I knew. And then I slept on it for a day and realized I forgot one. Well, really two. So let me show you this first one. Let me just demonstrate first and I'll go back and talk about it. It's a chromatic scale in fifths. So if you notice the hand movements in that exercise in my left hand, you really saw the independent motion of a lot of fingers moving in different directions at different times, and that's the whole point, is to reinforce finger independence. And the main object of this exercise, well, to get anything out of this exercise, you have to do a few things. Number one is whatever fret a string is played on, you have to play it with a corresponding finger. So if you play the first fret, you want to play with your index finger. The second fret is with the middle finger. You'll play third fret with the fourth finger, and third fret with the third finger, and the fourth fret with the pinky finger. Okay, so before you just go off and try to tackle the whole exercise up to down and back down again, it's more I don't know, it's a better use of your time to start practicing this using adjacent notes and going back and forth between them, and I'll show you why. So the first two notes are this E5 fifth power chord and then going to the F5. So those two spots. And notice as I switch back in between them, I'm keeping my fingers directly over where they need to go to get to one of either those two, chords. Notice I'm not lifting my fingers off in some random direction that's away from the strings. No, they're just right over. And also I'm minimizing the motion that I have to lift them off the string to put them back down. And I'm always trying to minimize that to the smallest amount to work on what you call the ergonomics of the motion. For instance, I could do this on the next two, like between the F5 and the F sharp 5. So between 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. Notice my movements are very small. My fingers are always right above the fret that they're about to play. Not moving too far from home base, but everything is very close, very small. Now, another thing you want to focus on while you do this type of practice is not only the economy of motion and the positional closeness or ergonomics of the thing, but also how smooth can you transition from note to note. So here's what you don't want. I'll exaggerate how not to do it. Hear all the space in between the notes and the quick movements in between things, the jerky movements. You don't want jerky movements. Notice if I play them smooth, I have to have quick motions, but they're very close. And the result, as I speed that up a little bit, the motions look more fluid, more gelatin, more steady. But the quickest way to get that down is to make very small movements on adjacent notes. F to F sharp, G or F sharp to G, G to A flat or G sharp, G sharp to A, and so forth. And once you smooth out every, adjacent two notes, maybe you can comb through 3 different notes. Go back and forth between like E, F, and F sharp and back down to F. Something like that. Or maybe F to F sharp and G. Then back down to F sharp and repeat again. This will really help you own your technique. Once you get up, there's some particularly difficult motions I've found in these. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So once you start like you get up to this E and B on the D, G string, when you go to the F5, right there, and then the F sharp, and then this one right here to the G. That's where most people start having trouble. So really listen in there and try to connect those motions. Like, yeah, F sharp to G, all that stuff in there. F, F sharp, G, G sharp and back down. Get through all that. That's a really hard moment in there. It's another hard moment between B and C sharp and C and all that stuff in there when you get to the top. Oh yeah, man, just messed one up finally. So all that stuff, and notice I'm just playing these with like my thumb on the lower note and another finger on the high note. You can alter it. If you have an electric guitar, you can play a pick and another finger, it doesn't matter. As long as you play them at the same time and you're focused on them being very smoothly connected by keeping your fingers over, the correct positions that they're about to be going to. You're always trying to think a note ahead or a note behind, So like, even when I start, I've practically got 4 fingers in position where they need to be. I've got ready for the F, and even the pinky is ready for the F sharp already. So I'm always thinking ahead with my hand position as far as I can into the exercise, you see. So, complementary to this chromatic scale in perfect fifths, there's a chromatic scale in octaves. And it's pretty much the same thing. And so forth. And you get the idea. And the idea is you really want to go slow, take your time, 2 or 3 notes at a time. Don't rush. Worry more about playing consistently connected and smooth as opposed to fast and hurried. The ergonomics and the smooth coordination and the connection between the notes, the legato-ness of the notes, how smooth they're connected. Another way you can think about that is how little space is in between a note. There's always going to be some space, but you want to make that as small as you possibly can. And the smaller you can make that space between 2 adjacent notes, the better your coordination, your technique gets for everything. It's one of the hardest things to do on guitar. It's just playing one note to the next with no gaps in the note. Everything's got to be really connected. So that's the second best set of exercises I know for the left hand. If you didn't see the ones from last time, you should check those out too. Until next time, I'll show you some more left hand goodness. I'll see you then and practice these chromatic fifths and octaves.